Hello, I want to welcome everyone to another interview with one of our wonderful authors in the Wounds to Wisdom, Healing Through Veteran and First Responder Narratives. And today we have Robert Ledogar, otherwise known as Bobby. And he was a U.S. Navy, he's a U.S. Navy veteran. He was in the U.S. Marshal's office. He has just a very intense story. And it's been amazing to just kind of watch how his story has unfolded. And I'm so grateful that you're here today, Bobby, to share your story and to help others who are really suffering in silence, how to navigate out some of these really hard situations. So Bobby, let's just start from the beginning. Where did you come from? Tell us a little bit about the young Bobby.
Well, thanks, Sara. Thank you for giving me the time to do this. So my name is Bobby Ledogar. I'm originally from Queens, New York, the Rockaways. I grew up. I have a younger sister, my mom and dad. We grew up in a little town outside of New York City. I went to school locally in my own neighborhood and then on to high school. And then from there, I joined the Navy and I served about 7 years in the Navy as military police, which in the Navy was a master at arms. I was in during Desert Storm and I served in Desert Storm in the Middle East and became a military police investigator, then a instructor for shipboard security tactics and training. Then from there, I signed up and got selected to join the U.S. Marshals. And so I left the Navy on a Saturday, and then on Sunday, I was at the Marshals Academy. And
Wow.
I went on through the academy and went to Eastern District of New York, Brooklyn. So you can tell from my accent, I'm from New York. I did practically 25 years in the Marshal Service. I was a Deputy U.S. Marshal for half my career, and the other half, I became a supervisor. And I was primarily working in fugitive investigations, warrants, going after America's most wanted and the worst of the worst.
Excellent.
And then, later in my career, the story comes out about why I'm here today talking to you, Sara.
Yes. Well, listen, before we get to that too, I would love to I would love to hear more what you loved about serving. How did you feel? What did you love about your service in the Navy? And we're talking kind of the overall good times. What did you love about that? What did you love about serving in the U.S. Marshal's office?
Well, right from high school, I knew I was going to go join the military. I signed up early with my parents' permission, and I went for the Navy. My dad had served in Vietnam with the Army. My grandfather served in the Army during World War II. And I think it was, just natural for me to want to go in. And I grew up on the water, so I was obsessed with boats. And, I picked the Navy. I went to that. And, you know, as a teenager, you watch all the cop movies, and I love the movie Miami Vice. So I went, into the Navy, you know, for the training and education, and then from there I went into the Marshal Service and wanted to be a federal agent. But I always knew I wanted to be in the military. I just loved it. I loved being in the Navy. I had a great years of service, everything as a master at arms, the people I worked with, my duty assignments, it was great. I took so much advantage of everything that the military could offer me with all the schools, the duty assignments, overseas, being involved with Operation Desert Storm. I just had, I had a great time in service. I was honorably discharged and I got out. I just made E6 when I was getting out. And I wish I would have stayed in at some time because of the guys and girls I served with and I worked with in the military were great. And I'm still friends with so many today. And we do reunions and trips together, family events. I mean, I go to some of the guys and the girls I served with, their kids are getting married and I'm going to their weddings. It's awesome. The friendships you develop from the military. And then the Marshal Service, I loved the Marshal Service. I loved what I did. It was an adrenaline rush. It was so exciting. The guys and girls I worked with were the best in the world. I mean, I worked in Brooklyn, New York. It's the 8th largest district in the nation. We had the most exciting investigations to do and tracking down the toughest criminals in the world. And if it wasn't for the guys and girls I worked with, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, as much as I supported and protected and guided them, they did the same for me. And, I'm still friends and I keep connected with so many people I've worked with throughout my career, from U.S. Marshals to local law enforcement. And I had a great time and I loved it all.
I think from the time that I've known you, you are definitely somebody that's a connector. You build great friendships. You have a lot of people around you that love you. I think about too the job that you had also, that it really takes a smart person, I mean, to reach, being a supervisor in the marshal's office and then also taking down the people that you have. You have specifically named a few, and even I have heard of them. So it's just very impressive, your career and just kind of who you are, like what you bring. So tell us, there came a time, something happened. You hit a day that changed your life and your whole trajectory. Do you want to share about that? What happened?
Oh, yes, ma'am. But before I do that, now remember, keep in mind, you know, um, I grew up in Queens, New York. I worked in Brooklyn, New York. I seen a lot of things my whole life, and then going into the military. I by no means am an angel. I am not an altar boy. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just I'm a New York guy, and I say what's on my mind, and I act with my words. I stand by what I say and what I do, and it's like the group we're part of, Sarah. Like a protector. I guess I am a protector. I was raised. I have a little sister. Nobody, I'm old school. You don't hit a girl. You don't pick on, your younger sister or your older sister. As my dad always said, if someone messes with your sister, knock them out. So what happened was later in my career, a young lady who was working for me was being bullied and harassed, and it reached such a bad point. She was actually being sexually harassed and assaulted and sexually assaulted by some of the male coworkers in our own department. It was U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement guys that were targeting her. And she kept it within, and it took a little while before it came out, and she confided in me, and I was her supervisor. So, I didn't do what comes naturally as a supervisor, as I've heard from so many other people. I did what naturally comes to me. I defended her. I know this girl. I worked with this girl. I'm friends with this girl, and I trusted this girl. And when she told me what had happened, I knew it was real. I knew it was true. You can't make up the things that she told me. And she wrote it all down to show. And the guys that she said were doing this, some I was surprised of, some I were not. And I knew it was happening. So when she told me, I did, the next New York thing to do is I confronted them all. And we got into arguments and yelling back and forth. And I mean, it even reached a point where me and one of the other guys were going to fist fight. We were nose to nose and calling each other out. Thinking, of course, we can fix it amongst ourselves, which it didn't work. And we had to report it up the chain of command. And I went to my chief, and he got involved with other people, managers and leaders. And then it had to go up to our headquarters, to the Marshals Service, and it's supposed to go to internal affairs. But that's where it went bad for me. My own agency executive staff personnel took it over, and they started to investigate themselves to protect themselves over the young girl who is one of our own, another marshal who was being sexually harassed and assaulted, and they wanted to cover it up and get rid of her and me and keep the great task force in good standings, which unfortunately some things go south. Sometimes good things go bad, and because there's bad people in there, you have to weed them out and pull it out and clean it up. And they didn't want to do that. And then, I wasn't standing down. I kept on it. And next thing you know, the investigation into these complaints that the female marshal put forth went bad. And these guys who I had worked with for years, I personally knew, and we kind of were friends and would go out on the weekends or at night. They colluded, and they came up with so many asinine things about me, from me discriminating against people, being a racist, doing drugs, stealing money. And my own internal affairs took all that and came after me in investigations and an investigation after one another. And the betrayal that I went through from my own agency is it's crushing. But you see it every day now. You see it with all these, guys and girls coming forward to say that there's bad people in the government or in private sector that are only concerned about their self-agendas of moving up. And here I am, I'm somebody that got in their way, that they had to steamroll over to get rid of so they can move up and look important. But yet they never did the job of what I did or the young lady did, but they wanted to be the leaders of it. And it was horrible. It was horrible stuff that I went through, and I'm kind of still going through it. And it's been well over 7 years, and the stress and the disappointment and the shame and the embarrassment and just the fear and the pressure that it weighs on you, and it crushes you. It eats you up, and it affects your family and your friends. And I'm so grateful to have my wife Roseanne, to have my mom and dad, and my mother-in-law, and all my friends, and so many people knowing me and knowing the incident and knowing the story and what happened. They've seen it live play out, all the evil and bad things that came with it. And everybody stood on my side and stood with me, or even tried to take steps ahead of me to, take the punches that I was getting hit with. And, you move forward, you overcome it. You overcome what these people say, these bad things, when they characterize you and put out these falsehoods about you. You beat it. You have to overcome. And it's demons. It's the demons that are in your head, that you hear these people say negative things about you and bad things about you. And while it's going on, the unaccountable bureaucrats, the the lawyers and general
Incredible.
counsel or the investigators from internal affairs, they want you to kill yourself because they know you're fighting them and they know you're right. And they just prolong it. And the government has all the time in the world and all the money to waste to hurt you. And here I am, is I have no union. I had to get a lawyer. I had the National Police Defense Foundation helping me, great lawyers. And you know what? When you're telling the truth and you have all the facts on your side, you win. You do win. You don't win the whole fight, but you win a couple of rounds and you keep going and you don't stop and you continue with your life. You wake up every day. You eat, you work out, you do what you have to do to survive, and you spend time by yourself in thought and just think things out. And you do the things that get you through each day, because that's what it's all about. It's about living your best life. Even when there's bad people trying to hurt you, you have to live your best life. And you have to do what makes you okay, or what makes you happy, or what just gets you through that day. Do it. And for me, it was me and my wife and my family and wanting to win, and even when you lose, you win, but you win. You might have taken all this money away from me, and you might have taken the titles and the recognition that I earned over the years, but you didn't take me, and I didn't take it myself. I stayed with the course. I did it the right way. I listened to people, some people that I just connected with, and they helped me along the way. So for that, I'm here right now talking. I'd love to tell my story. I'd love letting people know that you're going to be okay. You're going to win, and you're going to get through it.
Love that. You have a book coming out, which is you'll be able to promote that when the time is right, because obviously with this content, you've had to make sure with the lawyers, that everything was okay. But the thing that is just so it's just painful for others to also hear your story, because you did the right thing. You absolutely did the right thing, and you were punished, severely punished by the people that should have had your back also. And but you did the right thing, and you fought, and everything that you went through. Some of us on The Power of Our Story got to witness like the last few years of your story, to see how things started turning around and you were overcoming. But just so I'm so proud of you, because you have suffered so greatly, but it was for doing the right thing. And I think the people around you were there, and they fought for you. Oh, by the way, too, you never got convicted of anything that they tried to pin on you. So these are very
No,
important details. Yeah. I mean, you have a great record. You did a lot of great work. The people who knew you, who were not involved in the betrayal, were by your side, had your back. So, clearly you were in the fight. You stayed the course. A lot of people would have given up a long time ago, and you did not. Tell everybody, our protectors and anybody else who is out there who is going through this betrayal, because unfortunately it is not that uncommon. Tell them again, what can they do? What can they hold on to while going through organizational betrayal?
It's hard, Sara, and thank you for, you were one of the first people to connect with me when my story started to break, and you saved my life. You saved my life. You and I never ever met, and I trusted you, and you trusted me, and I shared so many documents with you because I wanted to hear what you had to say. Tell me the truth. The truth hurts, but I want to hear it. If I did something wrong, and thank you for recognizing that I didn't. I didn't do anything wrong. And I wasn't convicted of any crimes. I was targeted as a criminal, but nothing true. Um,
Yeah.
but what can you do? Look, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist. I did what I thought in my mind was good to do. I wrote so much stuff down. I just took notes after notes, and I'm not a writer, and I put things together. And, that's where, thank goodness, I connected with Natalie, and that we're creating a book. We're drafting a book, and it's going to come out. And that it saved me. That by being able to connect with you, Sara, and with Natalie, and telling my story, and interviewing me and talking to me, and giving me those times to get my thoughts out, what to speak. It saves you. It saved me. The other things for me was, look, I go for walks. I walk 5-7 miles a day, and I listen to music, and it brings back happy times, and memories, and even new songs that something else is going to come out of that. It helped me. I I I I didn't go to drinking or medication or drugs. Well, I just focused on what I was involved in. And I needed to feel the same way every day. I wanted to feel that those evil words that people said about me, my own people, my own leadership, and agency lawyers and internal affairs investigators, for what they drummed up, to cherry pick words and statements and misquote, you know, incidents. It's crushing, but you got to feel that real pain to get through it all. And by me talking about this and getting it out there is the greatest thing ever. And it helps you. It helped me. And I hope my story and what I've done and went through can help others. And I know it has, and it will. And I'll keep talking until as many people can listen, and I can answer any question that I've been through that I know others are going to go through.
Bobby, I'm so proud of you. Just to first say that, I'm so proud of you. And this is only a teeny bit of his story. I mean, them trying to fire you before, like a few months before your retirement. There's so much to your story that you had to really dig deep and just, have that grit and to not give up, like you say. And that is the whole purpose of this book, Wounds to Wisdom, healing through veteran and first responder narratives. We have people like Bobby sharing these really, really tough stories. And our audience, who we're aiming at, is those of you out there that are suffering in silence. You are suffering in silence, and you haven't been connecting and sharing your story. We want you to know that there is hope. There is power in connecting. There's power in sharing your story, or even what Bobby was saying, writing, there's power. There's even data behind the power of writing your story, sharing your story, and it is very connecting. The people on the power of our story, we have groups every week, and that is how we met Bobby and how he became part of the tribe. What it does is it fills you with courage again and encouragement to do the next hard step. And we have been watching Bobby do this. It has been unbelievable. It's heartbreaking that there's people in the government that would target people doing the right thing. It's hard. It's a hard reality. But, Bobby's grit is paving the way for any of you who are going through a deep betrayal like this, because he's being heard. His story is being heard. Bobby, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of your courage. And, you are already saving lives. So thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your story. And you'll hear more of it on Wounds to Wisdom book that's coming out in August. Thanks again, Bobby.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.